What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Black Bullet episode 13, and I can't believe that we're finally at the end of this anime. And I'll be honest, this episode, it was definitely good, but to me it just did not feel like it was the end of the series. It just felt like this right here was like another episode, and a part of me is actually thinking that we might get a season 2. I don't know why, but this to me just felt like another episode, and I kind of get that feeling of, just like looking forward to episode next week, even though I know we won't get it. So as a finale, it just wasn't there, but overall this episode, it was definitely good, and I did enjoy it. So it starts off from last week, where we have our characters here. They're preparing for their final battle, and we actually learned that the Galaxy, they'll be there in about 10 minutes. And so right now, of course, they're like waiting on the I forgot the name, like the JASDF, I believe that was it. I'm probably not saying that right, but they're waiting on them, and also waiting on the batteries that we saw that idiot thrown to the water, last week. They're like waiting for that, and of course, right now, if they don't come now, then it's definitely safe to assume that they'll never come. So our characters here will pretty much have to handle this on their own. And we see now the Gastria, they are now definitely on the charge here, because you should see like a bunch of these red dots, which were their eyes, of course. We just see now that they're gathering. I mean, not gathering, but they're like charging forth. And we see that the area that they were actually, like invading, it was definitely like this rundown city. So I do wonder if that right there was like from their previous battle, and they had all of humanity, like escape from that place, or maybe it's where the Kurd children actually are, because we do know that they are kept from the city unless they're working with a civil officer. But we actually see that when Richaro was actually going to get everybody to charge in there, because they had a choice to either let the Gashi come in there and kill off everybody, or they could charge in, try to fight them, and sadly they all might perish. But just when Richaro was going to give an order, we have Enju. She notices like these beautiful lights, because they definitely were. It was these gorgeous lights that were in the air, and of course that were there. Everybody was wondering, where they were coming from, and we even see that they also started coming from behind them as well. So I was like definitely wondering what was going on here. But we actually learned that it's part of this, I believe it's called Diganan Festival. And then we have their leader, Senteshi. She had called Rentaro, and that right there, it was so nice, saying that all these lights, they were full of the hopes and prayers of the people, and that right there was like a beautiful scene. And we kind of see like this new era starting, because we saw this regular child and this cursed child, and we saw that when they look at each other, these children, they didn't have any hate or fear in them. They were just happy, and that right there, that one little scene, it is just so important, because that right there could lead to a wonderful, beautiful future. But now we have all the characters, charging in there, and it was epic, the way how all our characters, how they got to show off, like so many skills one more time, because we saw Rentaro and Enju, they were charging in, but you had the other group in there as well. And it was awesome when like this giant Gastria, was like coming after them, and you just saw Kisara take it out instantly. And I love how Tina was able to stay back and play this like wonderful support, because she got some amazing gun skills. And Shoma, this guy right here, is probably my favorite guy in the entire series. I love his fighting style, because it's just so freaking epic. And it was a bit disappointing to see his temporary Kercha partner not really get a chance to shine, because we saw everybody else, get that chance, and not her. Now I get that they probably wouldn't have, a permanent partnership, but it definitely would have been nice to see them work together more. And I am a little bit disappointed that we did not get to see that. But overall, I'm not really gonna let that bother me much, because even Kohina, she didn't really do much, because it was Kagitane that was doing most of the fighting. I live with like a little barrier, and this guy definitely, got some gun skills, and he did look creepy holding up those guns while you just saw the Gasher, raining down. That right there was a bit creepy. Overall, he was definitely going in. And so now we see that Rentaro and Kisara, they are now taking on this Oberon by themselves, and they actually managed to do some pretty good damage to it, because we see that they did like put the bomb in there, because it was like closing the shell, but luckily thanks to Inju, they were able to get out of there. But we see now that when the bomb was counting down, because even Rentaro, he was counting down as well, we see that this error happened and the timer stopped. And so now Rentaro already knew what he had to do, because he can fix it. He can make it like make the timer go off. But sadly, for him to do that, he would have to give up his life, because he had to be right there. And I'm pretty sure there is no way he will survive that. And so we see now that Inju, because we have like this final farewell moment between them, and we have Inju trying to tell him not to go, and he just punched her in the stomach to like knock her out. And so he was like definitely serious about going on to do this. But we see now that when he actually went in, against the Oberon alone, we see now that it used that special liquid to actually destroy his leg. And that right there, made me worried, because I thought that we might get this horrible ending. And I don't mean horrible as in bad. I mean horrible as everybody gonna die. That is what I meant. But luckily, we have Shoma here, who came in because he understood what was going on, and he definitely knew what he had to do. And so he saved Rentaro, but at the same time, he was actually going to give up his own life, because he actually had the power to destroy an enemy from the inside out. And that power right there is so great. He must take it with him to his grave. So it did make sense, but I definitely did not want him to go. But when he went in there and did it, I had nothing but respect for Shoma. This guy right here, he has earned my respect to the fullest, and he's probably my favorite guy in the series. Now, I'm not saying that his death, made him my favorite, but I always liked him. And that right there, like the fact that he was so fine with dying, that he went in and did it like it was nothing. I had nothing but the utmost respect for him. And so now we get like this giant explosion, and that right there was like an atomic bomb going off, because we had like that I believe it's called the mushroom effect, because we saw that going on like once the bomb had went off. And now we have Rentaro, who was like knocked out for a while, but when he woke up, we have Inju right there. And of course, we all know that his leg was destroyed, so he cannot stand on his own. But we see now that when it's all over, their group that was full of so many officers, it is definitely down. I want to say possibly over half of that. But of course, our main characters are also alive, except for Shoma. Only the father had died. And so now we see that after that, we have all of these helicopters coming in, because they're bringing in the monolith. And so now after that, we actually go to Kisara, Tina, Inju, and Rentaro. They're all like sitting in this dojo, and we have like this, and we have this one guy coming in there with this woman. And so we actually learned that this guy, he is actually Kisara's brother. Excuse me, he is her brother, and we actually learned that he was the one that was behind this like faulty monolith, because it was made from ingredients other than the metal that it hated, which is why the Oberon was like able to take it out in the first place. And so now that we get the truth behind that, we have this guy wanting to shut Kisara up, because obviously if she puts that out there that he was the one that was behind this, then that right there will be clearly bad news for him, because he will lose all this power and money that he did use to build himself into this position, because right now he is the vice minister. And so this guy right here, I had never liked him, and I even said, while watching the episode, that I was hoping, he would be killed. Now, what I wasn't expecting was for Kisara to become like this evil, like what's the word? I guess you could say like this evil bitch, to accomplish this, because she really tapped into the power of darkness. And now I definitely see what Midori meant, it kind of like her warning for this. But we see now that they plan on fighting, and this woman here, she had made this pledge to actually, not tell anybody, about what happened here, and not to go to police about, one of them dying. And so we see now that both of them go into their Tendo, like martial arts style, and this guy used a spear while Kisara, like used a sword. And we see that rather than using, her standard sword fighting style, she actually made, a new stance, so to say, to kill her own family. And that right there is kind of crazy. But we see now that after those two, clash for a moment, because she wants to get revenge, because this is one people that were like responsible for her parents' death. We see that Kisara was not holding back, because after they clash, we just see this guy, like turns around, and out of nowhere he just falls because Kisara had actually, cut his leg off. And so now we actually get some answers here, because Kisara wanted to know why in the world would they go so far, to do this, to kill her parents. And so we actually learned that this right here, about the monoliths. This right here wasn't the first time an incident like this happened, and we actually learned that that Kisara's father, he was actually going to, like make public the Tendo clan darkness. And so to shut him up, they had wanted him killed, her mother, her, and whoever else, was like a part of that branch, I guess. And so now because of that, now we have Kisara planning on killing everyone that was like a part of that. And we see that that this guy is now thanking Kisara for like sparing him, because she actually tells Rentaro and everybody else, to just leave. And we see that, when they do leave, we learn like the horrible truth, because Kisara said that it wasn't the second attack that actually severed his leg. And so we go back to the guy who was so thankful at first, and we just see out of nowhere his glasses fall apart, and we see that his face is now splitting, and just out of nowhere we just see all this blood go everywhere, and now he like screaming in pain. And then we hear that woman screaming as well. And when Rentaro go back in there, we see that like that none of the body is left. It's just all the blood everywhere. So Kisara definitely did a number on this guy, and I'm actually surprised that that she can attack so freaking fast, because that right there is like pretty freaking crazy. But we have Inju and Tina, well mainly Inju, because they were like she was wondering what happened in there, but Rentaro had stopped her, from going inside. And so now we have Kisara. She's now happy as she goes to Rentaro, so they can celebrate, because she had killed one of the people that had that were responsible for taking her parents' lives, and she thought that Rentaro would be happy like her. But right now Rentaro was not thinking that. And Kisara definitely knows where they stand. Rentaro here definitely, like has the fist of justice, and he can never touch or kill evil, which is why Kagetana is still alive, and which is why he also, failed to kill that guy that had shot Tina, early on in the series. But Kisara here, she has definitely fall to the darkness, and she has the power of evil, which definitely, allows her to kill. And we kind of see that, she like definitely snapped. And we see now that that Rentaro definitely thinks that one day he might actually be her enemy, and I would definitely love to see that. I do hope that we get a season 2, or the manga definitely does more, because I would love to read about a fight going down between these two, because that would like be freaking epic. But that is where the series ends for the most part, because now we get Senteshi. She is now having this like media conference, and we see now all the people are now at the building where she's at. And while she's talking, we kind of see where our characters are at now, because we see that Kisara was like alone in her office. We have Inju and Rentaro. They now have kind of like a funeral for all those children that were killed, we have Tina with the doctor, and I do wonder, why she was with her. Like maybe Tina has now left Kisara. I do wonder about that. And we also saw Kohina and Kagitane. Now I do wonder what those two are planning to do now. Like maybe Kagitane will be evil again. I'm not really sure, but I'm definitely interested in to see what the character might do next. But then at the end, we actually have Kisara. I mean, not Kisara. We have Rentaro and Enju. They are now on the train where they're actually going to Santeshi, because I believe they said that she wanted to like thank them in person. But the train actually stops because some accident happened. But we have Enju here. Like at first she had gave Rentaro this letter that was an oath, and it was like for now on they'll be together and to do everything together. And the most funniest one though was like to never knock her unconscious again. That right there was hilarious. But we see that when the train stops, we have Enju here, saying her thoughts out loud, and she was like wondering, like if it hurts to die or not. And we just see like these little quick flashbacks of all these characters that have died in the series, like Midori, Shoma, and those children. And we see now that right there, her thoughts, it kind of caused it caused Rentaro to like break down, because he was starting to believe that he would becoming unaffected by the deaths around him. And so he was saying that he never wants Enju to like leave his side, because she kind of brings out that humanity inside of him. And so that what it was like definitely nice, and it was touching. And so and that never did was the end. So overall, for so overall, like I said, the episode to me, it did not feel like a finale, but it was definitely good. So I'm gonna get this probably a 9.5 out of 10. But of course, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. And you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.